Mr. Gallego.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Admiral, I will confess to you that there's not a lot of water where I live, but I will also tell you that every single resident of that congressional district, the 23rd in Texas, feels your pain. And on behalf of the constituency that I represent, I want you to know that our prayers are with you, with your fellow members of the service, and certainly with all of the families who have lost someone over the course of the last few days.
Thank you, sir.
I have the privilege of representing several military facilities, Joint Base San Antonio, which includes multiple Air Force and Army components, and Laughlin Air Force Base, and in El Paso County, there's Fort Bliss. They're all very dedicated public servants, both in the uniform side and the non-uniform side. And my own view is they deserve better than what they're getting from our government. Certainly from the Congress, as I have listened to the testimony, it seems to me that in some instances, Congress is a very difficult partner because we make your life harder instead of easier. And you can't say that, but I can, especially since I just got here in January. So when I listen to the idea, for example, that having to reduce pilot production, potentially reducing 25,000 airmen, or a 9% cut in aircraft, or choosing between readiness today and a modern Air Force tomorrow, or when I listen to the testimony about how it is unconscionable to do the furloughs, I understand that all of that is not in your control. It's in the control of the members of this institution. And institution is a very interesting word for this place. I'd like to talk, General Odierno, you and General Welsh, about the impact of one of the disconnects I think there is many people don't understand the importance of the civilian side with respect to the uniform side. And so when you look at Joint Base San Antonio, or you look at Laughlin, people don't understand, or Fort Bliss, the importance of the contribution of the civilian side. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that spillover affects the uniform side and how they work in tandem? And if you have some specific examples about, and at some point I'd also like some specific information offline about the bases that I represent and how they would be impacted. General?
So for us, we have, three major commands, actually four major commands in San Antonio. We have Medical Command, we have Installation Management Command, we have U.S. Army North and U.S. Army South, all in San Antonio. They are four key components to what we do in the Army. Medical Command, obviously, huge responsibility of providing support to our soldiers, both in combat and our families and not in combat. And our civilians there play a huge role in that command. Installation, they manage all of our installations, both in the United States and outside the United States. Huge role. And then, Army North is the one who's really the Army component to provide homeland defense, homeland security for our nation. These are all key components. They all have key civilian workforce that is essential for them to accomplish the mission. In fact, at SAMPC, the hospital in San Antonio there, we have some concern. We are losing some of our critical civilian employees because of the furlough, because they'd rather go work now for veteran VA or other opportunities because now they have lost, as has been mentioned here, some faith and trust in the fact that they will have consistent employment with the Department of Defense. So it's those things that I would tell you is so important to us.
General Welsh.
So I'll give you an example of the maintenance group at Randolph Air Force Base. I was down visiting with the maintenance group director, who's a civilian. The entire maintenance group at Randolph Air Force Base to support the training that goes on at that base, the flying training, is civilian, all Air Force civilians. Because of the furlough this last year, we actually lost enough of those 8 million man hours I mentioned that weren't being done. A percentage of those were at Randolph, a large enough percentage that we lost the ability to support a number of flying hours equal to an entire pilot training's class worth of work. which is why I said in my opening statement, we will look at changing our initial pilot production numbers next year, because we learned here that we're going to have to cut a class, whether we want to or not, just as a result of lost production from impact on the civilian workforce and on our depots. The other place that affects us is that when you take 8 million man-hours off the books, there are tasks that would have been done during those 8 million man-hours that can't wait because of the operational activity that they support. So the uniform workforce that's there will pick those up as an additional duty, because the civilians would have done it and just worked a longer day before they took their furlough, but we're not letting them, so we can limit the number of hours we have to put against furlough. And we're not letting them work overtime. So everybody's frustrated because they like to do their job, not just because they're losing 20% of their pay during that period.
Thank you.